They have very low cultural ID. So what we're doing today is to help you increase your cultural ID by getting you involved with different movements and things that we're doing. So this is what we do. We Respect Our Black Dollars. Pass it around. Respect Our Black Dollars is an organization that was founded by a gentleman named Stan Wesley. He saw a need in the community. He says, you know what? If other races don't respect our money, then we should spend our money with them. But what was so significant about all of this was the fact that it was drug paraphernalia in those corner stores, and it's drug paraphernalia in those corner stores now. Stan said, you know what? I am sick and tired of this. He went out there by himself in protest. But then he bought to keep the stamps with him, councilman stamps. Then he bought some other individuals, and they decided that, let's make this an organization. So when they got this organization together, they focused on 3 primary objectives. Everybody look at that right quick. The 3 primary objectives. Now, give me one of those articulate people. Somebody do the primary objective number 1.
Yeah, you.
Support quality black-owned businesses, especially in groups of 7 or more.
Why is that so important? It's called group economics, okay? That's very important because as a group, we see the dollars and the dollars multiply when we all spend our money together. Now, everybody raise your hand if you have spent your money at a establishment and you didn't know what culture or what race that establishment, who the ownership was, if you didn't know that. Okay, put your hand up, put your hands down. All right? What if y'all did it as a group and you didn't care? You didn't care what culture was. You just wanted to go get what you wanted to get. All right? Now, you being honest. We say we want to tell the truth. What do y'all want? Tell the truth, right? So you got to sit back and tell the truth back. So here it is. Now, bring your financial awareness, level of awareness up. Now that's probably a term I need to write down. Your financial awareness, your cultural awareness up. We're going to raise that levels, raise those levels, okay? And how do we do that? Someone read the second objective, the primary objective. Someone read number 2. How do we do that? Someone different.
Promote Black economic community control model.
Black economic community control levels. You cannot control anything that you don't own. And right now, we as blacks, we have 0.0 ownership in America, right? So what we have to do, first of all, we have to learn how to control ourselves first. Once we control ourselves, we're able to make the right cognitive decision to go in and support black businesses. So we, in primary, first black businesses, but you know you can't just support only black businesses because we don't own this country. But if we're more conscious of it, it'll help us. Everybody repeat after me. You ready? Yes. I need to see 2 eyes. I will control my thoughts.
I will control my thoughts.
I will control my actions.
I will control my actions.
You like that? I will have devotion to purpose.
I will have devotion to purpose.
I will have faith.
I will have faith.
Point to yourself. In my ability.
In my ability.
To teach the truth.
To teach the truth.
I will have faith.
I will have faith.
In my ability.
In my ability.
To assimilate the truth.
To assimilate the
truth. So I stop right there because everything you're going to get from Mr. David, you have to assimilate the truth to see if it's right or wrong. In research, you do what we call internal and external validity. Am I right? We got some research people here? Yes. So once you do internal and external validity, then you see if it's true or not. Other than that, it's just a conversation that you have with people. So you really don't argue with people. And it's a guy named Dr. What's his name, David? Dr.
Umar.
Not the John Henry Clark. What did he say?
John Henry Clark. Right.
What did he say about arguing people?
Oh yeah. I only debate my equals. All others I teach.
So if you are, now see, you hear a comment, it's like, oh, it's a smart added comment. He didn't even say it with any emotion. He was serious. Because listen to me, you're going to graduate from Tougaloo. This institution, I know some people that graduate from Tougaloo. That's right. They don't argue with people that much. Listen, I try to get them to argue with me all the time. They don't argue with people. They have a lot to do with it. You're right. But they don't. It's good. But if you don't know yourself, you don't have knowledge of self. You don't know how to control your thoughts. You don't know how to control your actions. Come on, you're gonna lose it.
Somebody
last person, number 3, last person. The last primary objective.
Spread the building of black business infrastructure.
That's very important. The only way you're gonna build an infrastructure, you gotta have a solid foundation. So today, you ready, brother? David is going to come forth and show everyone how they can start building their own individualized foundation. And from this, you build your own individualized structure, foundation, and then you can go along and spread the word all throughout the campus. This day is the best day of your life because you never meet anybody like this man.
Amen.
This man has so much knowledge. He's a walking encyclopedia. But the thing I like about him the most is that he's totally honest with you because he's honest with himself. And he told me this 4 years ago. Dr. J told me this. He says, Coach, I will not debate with you. I said, yeah, because I tried to. He says, all of my job is to do is to help you to see yourself. That's it. Girl, that made me so mad.
That's so deep.
He said, all I want to do is get you to see yourself. That's it. He said, when you can see yourself in a light of truth, then I might debate with you. And to this day, I still haven't gotten a debate with me at all. So that means I'm still seeing myself. And I'm still growing. It's been 4 years. That means it's not about how much information I know and he knows. It's about what we can do collectively to help heal our people. So you can't heal a person if you don't first also learn how to heal yourself. So the foundation today is to move from just talking it and being it. Y'all just give David a hand.
Thank you so much, Coach. Coach is going to be passing out some information related to Respect Our Black Dollars.
I already did.
All right, good. I hope that you take advantage of it. There's nothing that I can say here today that's going to erase the things that we have to do. Whether you ever become a member of Respect Our Black Dollars and principles, ever operationalize them. Make organizations which are pragmatic for the masses of black people. I'm going to say that slower. You're going to find that most mainstream organizations that serve primarily black people lack an economic agenda that is practical and pragmatic for the masses of black people. Why is that important? Because if you do not have the race-first, self-sufficiency agendas in economics, education, and health and wellness, then it's impossible to raise your community if you are an oppressed people. If you are people that are oppressing others, then you already have to have those things in place, or you have to exploit other people so that you can put them in place. Do you feel that black people in our current state are in a position to exploit other people?
Yes. And some.
Anybody? This is an interactive discussion. You guys are not dummies. So this is not a thing where I should be
some other rappers
just telling you. Have any of you heard of Paulo Freire, Pedagogy of the Oppressed? No? Okay, not yet. No, it's all right. We have something called a dialogical methodology. Everybody say dialogical.
Dialogical.
Methodology.
Methodology.
Dialogical has to do with us, how we converse with one another. The methodology, of course, is the method in which it takes place, right? And so when you have a dialogical methodology, that means that when I speak, you speak. The goal is for us to teach and learn together. We should be able to move beyond the point where the only thing we do is come and listen to what somebody else has to say, and then our brains are secondary. We turn them off or we tune them out. You have thoughts that are going on in your head right now. You're evaluating every aspect of me, from what you see, what you hear, and what you smell. If my shoes are messed up, if my belt ain't right, if my clothes don't match, all of that has to do with what you think about me. And some of you might be so shallow that if you saw remember Yoda from the movie? Did y'all see Star Wars? No Star Wars? Oh, Lord have mercy. when you see Star Wars, he's a little green one. And when Luke Skywalker, who's the child of promise, comes and finds Yoda, he laughs at him, he scoffs at him, because Yoda don't look like nothing. He's looking for this great master. And this little green thing comes out dressed in rags, hiding in a swamp, and he has no respect for him at all. And it's only later that he learns it has nothing to do with what's on the outside of you. It has everything to do with what's on the inside of you. So there's nothing that I can tell you today that's greater than you connecting with the divinity that is within yourself and recognizing that you walk in God every day. You talk in God every day. You speak in God every day. You sleep in God every day. You love in God every day. But do you know that the same God that you love in, walk in, talk in, and speak in is also inside of you? And if you connect with your black divinity, and that black divinity within connects to the black divinity without. You can't say it ain't black because the entire universe is blackness. And the light comes from the darkness. From that darkness springs that light. And that light gives birth to what we call life. But the light was already present in the darkness, but you could not bear witness to it because you were unaware of it. You weren't even here yet. You were still at one with the source. And through the light, we separate and we become many things. The 7 spectrums of light. We call them Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, violet. Is that what it is? Say it. What'd you say? I love being corrected by people who know what they're talking about. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. The first 3 represent the lower aspects of self. Pass it around. The first 3 represent the lower aspects of self. The lower aspects of self are called the animal self. Then the green represents the heart chakra, which is right here. Right up in here. So the first 3, coming on up. Survival, that's right where your rectum anus is. That's the survival chakra. Come up, you have the creative chakra. That's right where your male and female genitalia is, right? Then you move up slightly where the navel is, and you have the solar plexus cycle, which deals with your willpower, with your will. Some people never, ever, ever rise above that level.
That's right.
The majority of the people that you're going to meet never rise above that level. When you deal with them, you have to deal with them on literal terms. Why you're here right now is to separate you from your animal self. What they call, the purpose is to reach the sunum bonum in Greek. That's the greatest aspect of self, according to the Greco-Roman word. But there is another part of self that exceeds the Greco-Roman conception. They couldn't get past the 6th part, which deal with the opening of the 3rd eye. They could not maintain the connection that comes from the top of the head with the divine source. And when you come up and you get to that heart chakra, that's when you have the opportunity to love someone else. How do you love them? By respecting them. You don't love them in a filial way, and where I got to come and hug my sister and kiss her, and we standing up and we getting googly-eyed. No, that's a different kind of love. This is the kind of love that mothers have for children. It's the kind of love that sisters have for sisters and for brothers. Y'all hear what I'm saying? It's a different kind of love. It's what in church they call, and unfortunately it's corrupted, called agape love. There's the purpose of, when I say it's corrupted, because if you understood what agape meant in the Greek culture, then you wouldn't put that with what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go too far into that, but they have some cultural variances there that go against the African-centered perspective. I want you to roll the next, take the thing and push the little button, and it'll come to the next one. So today we're talking about miseducation, so therefore I have to do a little bit of ashe, ashe, ashe. Ashe gives that extra oomph to what we're talking about. Go back 1, if you will. If you go back 1, you're going to see Carter G. Woodson. Now just roll it back. Just roll it back. Roll your thumb back over it, your finger back over it. Push a little button. No,
in the middle.
In there.
But he can do previous.
Okay. This is Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson began Negro History Week.
Carter G. Woodson.
Right. Carter G. Woodson ended up planted the seeds for Negro History Week, which becomes Negro History Month. You guys are familiar. They merely indicate this. If the Negro in the ghetto must eternally be fed by the hand that pushes him into the ghetto, he will never become strong enough to get out of the ghetto. The mere imparting of information is not education. Education comes from adduce. Adduce means to pull out of or to pull from. And that's what we talked about when we first began. I always want to start with God. Not the God of your understanding, but the God of the complete understanding. It's inside of you the whole time. No, you're all right. You're all right. This is Asa G. Hilliard. Asa G. Hilliard was a revolutionary scholar warrior. And he was in the educational field. He fought on behalf of black students, of white students, of colored students to get fair testing in schools. He made curriculum to assist black people with the knowledge of self, achieving the holistically accurate knowledge of self. Keep rolling. One of the things that he teaches us is what is education. True education is not a miseducation or a miseducation. Don't worry, I'm going to send you these slides. The purpose of education is the empowerment over oneself. Who wants to read that? Go back 1. I want somebody else to read it besides me. I get preacheritis sometimes. Go ahead.
The purpose of education?
Yes, please read it loud so everyone can hear it.
Is the empowerment over oneself and the environment to responsibly and effectively handle power.
Have you ever had that definition of education before? Up until today, have you ever received what the purpose of education was? What was the purpose of education for you? Raise your hand. Any 2 people? Yes. To learn. Who else? Anyone else?
Get a good job.
Right. That's what it was, Doc? Get me a job? So to learn and get a good job, right? Get a good grades, get a good job. That's what you were told, right? Did you ever receive this definition, which I called from Dr. John Henry Clark, which I called from Barbara Sizemore, which I called from Dr. Asa G. Hilliard, which I called from the many scholar warriors who come before me? Did you ever receive this definition for the purpose of education? Why am I here? Did you ever get that? Up until today.
I give it to my class.
Do you see why I'm here? Do you see why I was brought in here? Do you know why some people can't teach you that? Do you know why? No, you don't know why.
Can't
you
teach what we don't know.
You don't understand why you have to bring other people in sometimes. Power. Please read that definition.
The ability to manifest one's will, even in opposition to another's.
That's right. Come here, I need somebody to stand up. You. Push me. There you go, push me. There you go. That's power. Now, if I want to not be pushed, how do I stop myself from being pushed by her? Huh? I'm going to have to resist her, right? Now, if I don't have the ability to resist, push me again. If I don't have the ability to resist her, say it again, brother.
You got no power.
I have insufficient power. I have some power, but not enough. The ability to include and exclude, and this is the ultimate form of power. This is a physics issue right here. This is a social issue right here. This is a psychological issue right here, okay? This is a physical. This is a social. This is a psychological. I know you've never gotten this stuff before. You ain't going to get it till much later on either. The ability to define reality and have others accept it as their own. Now, I'm going to use some cuss words because I want to get some points across. Did y'all see Walking Dead? Good. Then I get to cuss. I like cussing because it helps me get my point across. Excuse my language, but you understand when you master English language, the English language is a bastardized language. It represents a car wreck which took place between Latin and German. German won. That's why you have so many repetitive words that you remember that don't make no sense. Two, and two. Which two are you talking about? You don't know, do you? Okay. I'm a pimp. I need a hoe. When I meet my hoe, is she a hoe when I meet her? Huh? I have to do what? Change her mind. How do I change her mind? By what? Taking her power. How do I take her power?
Wow, this is deep.
Come on, y'all. Interaction. I need more than one person to talk.
By beating her?
Come on, no, not you. Dr. J. You cheat. Put what? Words in her ear. What else?
Do as you say.
Do as I say. She like to fight back because her mama like to fight back. How do I get her to do what I say? I what? I hear her. What else? Say it again. Say it again. Find her weak point. I got to find her weak point. I have to exploit that weak point. I got to call her out her name. I'm going to rename her. And when I rename her, she got to correspond to the name that I give her. Because every name is a title, and title denotes function. So when I call you bitch, do you act like what your mama named you? When I call you bitch, do you act like what your pastor calls you? When I call you bitch, do you become what you're supposed to be in your grandmother's eyes? Or do you become what I need you to be for me? I got to break you down. I got to separate you from your divinity. I have to snatch something from you, from the depths of your soul, whether you know I'm doing it or not. I got to break you down. If I can't break you down with words, I break you down with blows. If I can't break you down with blows, I put you in circumstances that are impossible. Desperate circumstances that demand that you do things without being able to think fully about the consequences of your action. I have to put things around you and create situations that are false, but I have to make you believe that they're real. False education appearing real. Fear. Fear will dominate the intellect every time. Till you become strong enough by tapping into your divinity, your black divinity. Do y'all hear what I'm talking about? I wish I had seen The Walking Dead because I can relate this to you much better. But when you read about Willie Lynch, it's not the literality of Willie Lynch, it's what the letter makes reference to. The breaking process. I got to break you. I got to turn you into my bitch. You, a person who was raised as a child of God. You went to church and you sang your song. You was into it. And they clapped their hands. And they came and they hugged you and they kissed you and they loved you. And they told you, pull up your shirt and tuck your shirt in and get your tie right. And maybe your dress is not long enough, or maybe your skirt is showing, your slip is showing. Those heels are a little bit too high. You're 12 years old. You got makeup smeared across. They loved you. They loved you. Sometimes that was all they had to give. They loved you. You were in an environment where you could be loved. I know it's backwards. I know all of it don't add up. I know Noah can't fit all them animals on that ark. And you want to argue with the man who said that the animals can fit on the ark. I know you got to college and you learned the lesson. So therefore you're going to tell somebody else about their religion. No, they had an environment of love. They loved you. They loved you. But when I get a hold to you, I'm going to separate you from that. Because I don't need you to be the child of God. I don't need you to correspond with that. No. You got to be my bitch. I got to transform you by the renewing of your mind. Not towards Christ, but towards what I want you to be. Next slide, please. I don't have to go no further for y'all to get more than you get before you got here. The primary purpose of a proper education is to prepare the student for power. Powerful people will not give powerless people the information. Go back. Powerful people do not give powerless people the ability to take away their power. This is Dr. John Henry Clark. Powerful people do not teach powerless people how to take their power. So the pimp ain't going to teach the hoe
How to be the pimp.
how to be the pimp over him. Now, he might make her a madam so she can learn how to govern other women, but up under his control. She can become the pimp by killing him or getting rid of him. But she can't be the pimp, even as the madam, as long as he's alive. Because he has mind control over her, and then he teaches her how to have mind control over them for his gain, his ends, not yours, not hers. Next slide, please. Harriet Tubman said, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if they only knew they were slaves. If you've seen Birth of a Nation, you know some folks wouldn't run. If you've seen Django, you know some folks wouldn't run. If you saw Free State of Jones, you know some folks wouldn't run. They stay on that plantation. Go back. I don't want to skip over my sister Barbara Sizemore. I don't want to lose identity of my queens. Dr. Barbara Sizemore was on the side that said you should not have all that testing. The testing was biased. It was wrong. It was culturally biased. It was against the best interests of black children. Then when she saw that the train was rolling downhill and there was no way she could stop that, Dr. Barbara Sizemore jumped in the train and made it turn by saying that black children deserve as many opportunities as possible to get as much training as they need in advance of each of one of these tests. And she fought that battle till her death. She's on the battlefield for her Lord. She waved that blood. She took that God-centric self, the black divinity she had tapped into outside of that environment of church and took it into the world. She took it into the world where she could be all that she needed to be on behalf of those young black children, those young white children, those young yellow children, those young Mexican children. She was on behalf of children because you cannot help black people in America without helping other people. That's right. Because black folks is on the bottom by design. So therefore, when you lift the bottom, all others have to receive assistance as well. Yes.
I have a question about you saying that you say you can't help black people or whatever until like kind of like they help themselves. But what if they never help themselves and you doing all you can to help them, but they not showing you that they can help themselves?
That's one of the reasons why we're here, because I want to create a line of demarcation in your mind of what your goal and purpose is here at Tougaloo College. You have to make a choice whether or not you're going to serve black people. The easier choice, and the one that you will receive a greater immediate reward for, is to allow yourself to become, excuse my I'm using harsh language to get a point across, the white man's bitch. That's not just a pejorative term for women. That's for men as well. If you want to be the white man's bitch, you'll always be second place. You'll be well dressed and well fed. You can receive awards and accommodations.
But that's only because you serve his interests, not the interests of your people. You awake to the knowledge of self to one degree, and to the I'm fat and I'm overweight. I got diabetes. My hair's falling off and I'm impotent. Or my sex drive is low as a woman. I'm impotent as a man. I'm jacked up. I need help. Yes, you do need help. We can all see that. But now that you want to come in for help, we're going to help you. Okay, so I heard your cry for help. I'm going to come help you. Okay, what do we got to do to lose weight? Sweat, exercise, what else? Eat right. Do those things. Now, diabetes means right. We're not taking as much insulin, right? Now you're trying to walk with the person. Do they get up on time? No. Do they want to come every day? No. Do they want to eat the way they're supposed to eat? No. You have to know that from the beginning. Now the other thing you can do is get on the white side. And on the white side, what they going to do? Feed you more Fritos and Doritos and tacos and Cheetos. Right? Open you up a McDonald's or a Burger King. Right? Taco Bell. Toxic Hell. You can go do that. And then you can serve that to your people, and you'll do pretty good.